Hey dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Today I want to get into HYBE's statement from their team and what happened after all the commotion online in the last couple days. I wanted to get into BTS talking about Jin and his apartment, and also a reunion that was talked about in 2030. So, hate it or not, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell on. Grab your dumpling, a tea-spilling mug merch, and let's get into it. If you aren't aware, HYBE employees right now are probably scrambling and freaking out. There's a lot going on with their stock. It was reported by now, even in Korean news, that HYBE's stock has dropped significantly after the hiatus mistranslation. It was 25% in the last day or so, and now it's reported to be closer to 28%. This is reported by the media site Variety and others too, but I'm just going to be talking about Variety's article. They reported on June 15th that the market value in which HYBE lost was $1.7 billion. It was interesting that this was being reported by American news because I didn't know that HYBE is publicly traded in America, or if they even are, because what's the point of reporting it for Americans to read if they can't even invest in it? Or is it just interesting to know? I don't know. It was definitely surprising to see that so many news sites reported on this and not have to translate the Korean news just to read about it. So that was different. There had been some conspiracy theories that I wanted to get into and talk about. I mean, this is what this channel is. We go over conspiracies and I talk about what I believe might be true and what isn't. In case you're new here and didn't know, there were some reporters and people talking about how everything went down, which was quite interesting. So the BTS Festa dinner where they allegedly announced the hiatus thing was posted maybe towards the end of the day, and then apparently they started to notice some issues with the stock or with the backlash online, and it only took a few hours before HYBE's people made an official statement in Korean. It was alleged by multiple people that the statement came out like at 3 a.m. They were probably writing something and then trying to get their legal team to review it and quickly get it out to their press team, and this is probably what took them those couple of hours. But I imagine most of them were probably asleep and woken up for this. There were some reporters and people on Twitter talking about how fast HYBE was trying to get this statement out because the stock market is open for trading usually in the morning. In America, it can be around 9 a.m. For New York, it's 9:30. I don't know if it's different for every time zone in America or if it's different for every city or country. So these people were alleging that HYBE wanted to get this statement out, clarifying that BTS was not disbanding and not taking a hiatus. They wanted to get that out before the stock market opened up in order to make sure the investors did not pull out by the time trading was open, because otherwise these investors would literally open their laptop or whatever, look at the several headlines and immediately just pull out because they're scared. And who knows what the damage would be if HYBE didn't make that statement. It was also alleged that they put out various statements in Korean and English to make sure it was known that this hiatus wasn't real. People were thinking it was damage control and rumors of the fact that BTS was taking a hiatus, but after seeing all this craziness, they realized that they couldn't take a hiatus. And various headlines would read and say things like, HYBE insists it's not true. And that's a weird position for BTS to be in, to have so much power in your company that even if you decide to take a break, you are hurting the company. People were making this theory saying that BTS wanted to take a break but saw the damage and decided not to because people believed that HYBE has lots of time to look over original festive videos and make proper translations, and they ultimately went with the word hiatus. And so claiming that HYBE's statement was just damage control. This is just a conspiracy though. I think it's interesting and definitely a theory. I do believe BTS had no intention of disbanding. A lot of that was taken out of context, as they had mentioned. They're not leaving. They like to be with each other. They're just burnt out, which means when they get unburnt out, they'll come back together. HYBE may have had lots of time to edit the subtitles to be more accurate to what BTS's message was, but you have to consider people in HYBE, even if they do speak English, English may not be their first language. And should HYBE have outsourced the translations, then Korean might not be someone's native language. And even a lot of Korean Americans, their stronger language is English, even if their Korean was their first language, because they might be speaking English more in America. Just simple translation errors can occur, and it can be from people who aren't aware that the fandom can be so sensitive to a word like hiatus, and that the fandom would have taken that word out of context, especially since BTS was talking about how they still love working together. I can only imagine the headache that the legal team and the press team of HYBE must be in right now, and that poor translator could be getting a lot of yelling from the company or whatever. I don't think it was their fault, but when people are mad, they're gonna yell at someone. And it's so weird because most jobs in a company, it never results in something this big to happen. Like such a significant stock drop from one mistake, and not even a mistake, one word. One word allegedly caused $1.7 billion of loss, like my jaw's on the floor. It was literally announced very recently that BTS has many plans to stick together and none of this disbanding or hiatus really. Busan, which is a very famous area in Korea, they have a Busan Expo. Not entirely sure what the expo is. I assume it's about Korean culture. The expo will take place in 2030 and needed some ambassadors. What better people to be ambassadors than BTS. So BTS actually agreed, according to Korean news site Naver, to be the ambassador for that expo, even though it's 8 years away. This shows that they have nowhere near any plans of leaving, because if they're still imagining themselves together for the next 8 years, then yeah, they'll be together. They're basically married to each other. They're not going anywhere. ARMYs were very excited about this and of course rejoiced, and this confirmed that BTS wasn't going anywhere. I mean, it appeared like we will be bringing our kids to see BTS concerts, and I just hope that BTS takes the time they need to regroup, and if they want to do more solo stuff, please go right ahead. I'd love to see personal mixtapes from all of them, and we'll be 100% supportive of any genre of music they pursue. And here's the thing, they talked about being concerned that maybe ARMYs won't like the genre they choose or direction they choose, but that's okay. Like, if any of the members go into country music, I can see that that's not everyone's cup of tea, right? But it doesn't have to be. People can still love the specific member even if they don't like the music, and still support the best they can. And I think ARMYs will all do that. This was something that was expressed during their festa, and of course various other things that were expressed as well. Jin and his love life was also kind of talked about during the festa, and this was also something that was talked about by ARMY, but overshadowed by the hiatus thing. I think BTS might be a lot more cautious of how they may phrase certain things in the future, because I think they were hoping to have a candid conversation, and sometimes when you have a conversation, you're working through thoughts, and they might not be politically correct thoughts, and maybe more insensitive thoughts that you'd never say publicly, you know? Like, in the heat of a moment during something emotional, you might cry and say how much you want to hurt yourself or whatever, but that's not real, right? You're just working through the emotion, and when you calm down, you might not feel that way anymore. And obviously you can tell during the festa they were emotional, which they may cut out next time going forward. I would actually hope they would do so. They can avoid all this. But BTS's homes were discussed. Jin actually discussed how he spends a lot of the time gaming lately. Can Jin start a gaming channel? I would love to see Jin be a gaming YouTuber or Twitch streamer. So fun. This could be his hobby. And RM actually described Jin's home as a newlywed home. Interesting choice of words, said every ARMY. But RM quickly fixed his wording to say that he meant this because it was all white and stuff. Jimin was actually kind of silently laughing and giggling, and then he looked into the camera and asked, how much of this are they actually going to be able to air? Which actually does prove that they were just being too candid and not thinking about what they can and can't say. Which is what we like about watching these clips and videos. And it goes to show that they can't do that, because everyone, including myself, might have different interpretations of what they mean. But this newlywed room thing is a fun one. But it was even more funny how ARMYs reacted to what Jimin said. They said that Jimin might be alleging something, and that Jimin actually knows that Jin is married, and thus saying how much of this can we actually air is implying that there is a secret that they can't let out. That Jin is actually married and with a woman in his apartment, and this is a secret. And maybe even Jin is actually newlywed. Most ARMYs maybe jokingly were upset, and then there were various ARMYs hoping that maybe he is actually married. I mean, he's 30. Go get married. Have kids. You know, his parents are pushing for this too. Surprise! He's actually married to me. So we'll just adopt, because I can't get pregnant right now. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos. Link down below. I think it says lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.